Cool. You guys want to move on to Captain Infinity Avenger Justice League 1?
Mm-hmm.
We're being disrespectful. There's probably people who are like big fans of this.
I love that shit.
They're probably like, I'm
screaming.
a big comic book fan. I like these movies. I'm interested to hear what you movie watchers
All right, if this is their first episode, God bless their soul. But it's like if you listen to our past episodes, we kind of shit on these things pretty hard. I think I'm the most accepting of them.
All right. Well, here's the deal.
I accept their existence.
If anything,
I've come to terms.
Infinity War helped revive my understanding of why people will place an attachment to these things. It's not for me, but I get it. So no disrespect if you are listening. And we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame. Let's take a listen to a clip.
He used the stones again.
Hey, we'd be going in short-handed, you know?
Look, he's still got the stones, so...
So let's get him. Use them to bring everyone back.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
Even if there's a small chance that we can undo this, I mean, we owe it to everyone who's not in this room to try.
If we do this, how do we know it's gonna end any differently than it did before?
Because before you didn't have me.
Hey, new girl, everybody in this room is about that superhero life. And if you don't mind my asking, where the hell have you been all this time?
There are a lot of other planets in the universe.
Avengers Endgame. This is directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe Russo. I'm not going to read the list of screenwriters. And it's starring everyone you know. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, ScarJo, Jeremy Renner, you got Don Cheadle, you got all kinds of people. Is it a spoiler to read certain people in this movie?
I don't know.
Whatever. There's people in this movie. So, yep, this is 1 year away from. Is this the? What is so funny? I don't understand.
He came with the big ass glass, and I was like, "Wait, what is that? Is that grape juice?" And it's fucking wine.
It's wine. You need to get your shit together.
I ran out of cups. No, I'm not that.
Just drink it from the bottle at this point. All right. So this comes at us a year after Infinity War, right? They must shoot all this shit together because they can't pump this shit out that quick, right?
They probably do. I know.
Yeah, they must
yeah.
You might get like a week break or something.
Lord of the Rings definitely did that.
Yeah.
It's cheaper, right?
I would imagine.
I mean, there's no way you could make this movie in a year, right? It would all have
They
to be
must
shot.
no. They probably shot. Oh my god, I couldn't imagine this.
Or at
shooting
least shot
schedule.
consecutively, maybe.
Fuck, dude, my mind will be blown. Like I'm shooting this nonstop.
Crazy. So what did you guys think? I was a big fan of Infinity War. I'm not a big fan, but I really liked that movie, and I think it really revived the franchise for me because I was about on my way out, to be honest. But
You're like opening the door.
I was like, oh, you guys. All right, I'll stay. Yeah.
Stay for a little bit.
What did you guys think, Harvey? Infinity War. You
He
liked
says
it?
he wanted to go first. He was determined. Like he had some thoughts.
Well, yeah, that's mostly so that they don't fucking dissipate by the time y'all stop talking.
Damn.
I mean, my thoughts on this are very fleeting, if I'm honest.
Fleeting.
On this entire thing, I don't. Did you read the synopsis?
Oh no, I didn't. Why don't you read it?
Yeah, okay. After the devastating events of Avengers Infinity War, the universe is in ruins due to the efforts of the mad titan Thanos. With the help of the remaining allies, the Avengers must assemble once more in order to undo Thanos' actions and restore order to the universe once and for all, no matter what consequences may be in store.
Seems pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I guess if you missed Infinity War, Thanos snapped away half the fucking galaxy.
Thanos won.
Yeah, Thanos won. He snapped his fingers with all the Infinity Stones, and half the universe disappeared, half of all living creatures. Obviously, this has left devastating effects on Earth, people's families, companies, corporations. They lost half their fucking
The Mets.
half their working force. They half lost.
No, all
the
the Mets are gone. All the Mets are gone.
I was looking. There's like trash in the stadium. I'm like, wait, Did all the workers die too? Like, somebody can clean up the trash at Met Stadium, but I guess
I guess
Earth
everyone's
is
just like, fuck it.
yeah, Earth is in complete disarray. After that, people are trying to cope with losing their loved ones, losing everyone. I mean, that's a lot of people. That's like 3.5 billion people just disappeared. They're gone. And people are having a very hard time coping, especially the Avengers, because they were somewhat responsible, or at least they feel responsible, because they were not able to stop Thanos. So days or weeks following the event, they finally tracked down Thanos with the help of Nebula, because she is Thanos' daughter. And obviously she has been hearing about his plans for years and years. So they finally track him down on a planet. They use rocket ship to jump. And
I thought you said they use rocket ship, and I'm thinking like
a rocket ship.
I was like, and then I realized
Rocket, the talking raccoon.
The raccoon is named.
Yeah, they use his ship to jump to whatever planet Thanos has finally gone to. It's that planet that's actually at the end of Infinity War, which is one of my favorite scenes. It's like a big ass farm, basically a big farm planet, and he's just chilling there.
He's farming.
Yeah,
he did exactly what he said he'll do.
Yeah, and he has a very cool scene in that moment where he's like, "I am inevitable."
Yeah.
And at first it's somewhat confusing because you're like, "Wait, I am inevitable," but then you figure out what method they're going to use to undo Thanos' work, and then it becomes very clear what he means by that. And they are unable to get the stones from him because he has actually, I don't know if that's a spoiler.
Yeah, this is now you're encroaching on spoiler territory.
Am I?
Encroaching.
Yeah, you're encroaching.
Well,
at this point, a lot of it.
Yeah, like everything you said up to now is kind of like spoilery.
I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
Well, I mean, everything's a spoiler.
Right now, people are getting death
because
threats.
people like literally don't want to know a damn thing. But if you're listening to this, you probably aren't in that boat.
I hope so. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like I don't think I spoiled anything. 5 years go by, nothing has changed, and they come up with an idea to undo what Thanos has done.
Are you gonna
and then, well, I'm not. No, I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking in my head. I'm like, what if Harvey's plan this whole time was to tell the entire story?
Then Spider-Man dies. He gets his head chopped off, and
apparently, what we see in the new trailers for the Spider-Man movie is a dream sequence. that is what they call purgatory.
Yeah. But yeah, we basically pick up. The movie really starts 5 years after the event. The Avengers reassemble to sort of give it one last try to undo what has been done. This movie, this is probably, I think we said this last time, but I think this is probably the most comic book movie that I've seen in the MCU so far. It's fucking ridiculous. Like so much, a lot of things happen. Fucking Thor has a gut. Like, there's a lot of things that happen. I'm trying to think of what I can say without spoiling this movie.
All right. At this point, if you haven't seen the movie and listening to this, you're screwing yourself over.
I don't think I've given away anything important.
I'm just saying, like, it's just like in general, though. Like, it's like if you shouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah, but it's a very ridiculous movie, and it's a very long movie. I think that there's so many loose ends and so many characters that they've developed over the years that there's a lot of shit to tie up, and that's why it has the 181-minute running time. Ant-Man has been in the quantum realm this entire time, and they think that he is one of the disappeared. However, if you watched, what was that second
Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Ant-Man and the Wasp, at the time of the event of the snapping, Ant-Man was in the quantum realm, so he's been gone for this entire 5 years, and he finally comes back. Like, he comes back because of like a fluke accident. Like a fucking rat walks onto the little control panel, and he comes back and he realizes what has happened, and he is the one that actually assembles the Avengers, and like, we got to do something. We've got to restore things to how they were, and it's his idea. I can't fucking say what his plan is either. But his idea is basically to use the quantum realm to fucking to fix everything.
Break reality.
Yeah, to change their reality. And
what do you think of just like the overall story though? Because that's a lot, right? So like I don't know if you're hearing this so far, it's a lot of information.
Yeah, it's a lot that happens.
This is the first 30 minutes.
And that's what I mean by like it being one of the more comic book movies, because it's a very comic book solution to a problem. It's a very ridiculous. They don't really go over the science very much, and they don't really care to explain it to the audience. It's just, this is what we're doing. It's fucking crazy, and it's gonna work. And
it's gonna work.
It's very comic book in that regard. I think the characters deviate from what we've had established like so fucking much. Like Thor has like gone through such a transformation from his first movie, where he was just very cookie cutter and very boring and like just one dimensional, into Ragnarok, where he like kind of opened up and we could see like his comedic side, to like now, like he is fucking. When you see what they've done to Thor, yeah, when you see what they've done to Thor in this movie, you're like, what the fuck happened? I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I think it definitely is he's used as a comic relief, which is funny to a degree, but it's just so unusual and not what I expected them to do. And it's very comic book in that regard. I think that a lot of this works as fan service and to tie up loose ends and to give closure to some stories. And I think that in their attempt to do that, they sort of waltzed over like normal human emotion and human logic. I think that a lot of it doesn't work for me personally because I don't know. I think a lot. I think, and
yeah,
I don't know. That sounds like a dick.
I got a brain.
That sounds like a dick, but I think that a lot of things that happen in this movie, they don't feel deserved for me, and especially the emotional impact behind a lot of the more tragic moments in this movie, because obviously a lot bad shit's gonna happen, obviously, because this is like the last movie of this this story arc, or this what are they called in fucking comic books? I forget.
Events.
Yeah, this is like the last movie in this event, so a lot of shit's gonna happen. People are gonna die, but I don't think a lot of that is deserved from my point of view, like the emotional impact that it's supposed to have. And I think that the logical steps that we've taken, or the emotional steps in logical steps that they take in this movie, make a lot of sense to me. And there's a lot that I can't buy into, even though I do appreciate like the ridiculousness that it does have, and it does feel like a comic book movie in that regard. I think that some of it's just straight up silly to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like they've been getting sillier.
Yeah, they just really leaned into it.
I think I'll jump in next. I think where this movie really works is I don't know, this movie would have been, all right, say you watch Infinity War and this, like say you binge them both for the very first time. I don't know that it's as satisfying.
No.
I think them making you wait a year is part of what makes this movie more watchable.
Yeah.
I think that's why I wanted to see it so much, whereas usually when I see Avengers, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. I gotta sit through a movie with lots of mouth breathers, and there's no shortage of them. I mean, it wasn't the worst screening I've ever been to, but let me tell you, there's no shortage of mouth breathers. You know,
a lot of mouth criers too.
Yo, man, there was. I was telling this to Harvey yesterday. There was one scene with one character, and this girl behind me was like,
what?
She was like, audibly. I'm like this. I'm like, it's like, I understand tearing up, but fuck, I have to look back. I'm like,
I don't think our crowd was not that dramatic. I don't even think I heard any sniffles.
Really? I heard a lot, like a lot.
That could be spoiler territory, but you know what? Honestly, whoever's listening to this, I'm sure they fucking saw the movie. I mean, I don't imagine anyone would listen to this.
Spoilers.
Yeah, but you're fine though. I mean, I'm sure you've watched this movie.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, even the stuff that does happen, if someone was to tell me previously, I wouldn't get mad because I don't care.
Right. Well, I kind of care because, but I also would not listen to a podcast about it if I cared. So
I don't think we've spoiled anything.
Yeah, we didn't spoil anything, but like it for something so anticipated for somebody, they don't want to hear anything. But so this movie kind of rides off of the same tone. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more like weirdly humorous with certain characters like Thor.
Than Infinity War?
Yeah, than Infinity War. But what I like about Infinity War is that it's no longer Avengers 1 and then Age of Ultron, where it's just nonsense happening for 90 minutes and then a 30-minute fucking CGI fuckfest, where they save New York City or whatever. The stakes don't seem like that interesting. But this movie, what I like is the first half of it is almost like a heist movie, and they kind of make a joke about that. And I think it's entertaining. I mean, I would say almost started to fall off and get bored a little bit, but I think it picked me back up, and I was fine. I don't think I ever really got bored. There's some good fight scenes. The action scenes are much more watchable than the first two Avengers movies, which is just nonsense, And there were fight scenes where shit was going down and the crowd was going, "Ooh, yeah!" It was like fucking dope. And I saw this Asian kid like 2 rows to the left and down. He was like, "Woo, let's go!" And like he was dead serious because I went to look at his face. And he's like in his chair like this. And I was like, dude, people are excited about this. It kind of made me happy a little bit. Normally it would not. Normally I'd be pissed.
Speaking of audible moments, I never do this in a movie. It was the weirdest fucking feeling.
Steve talking to the mic.
Sorry. I don't have my headphones in, so I don't
you've
have
been doing that a lot this episode.
Yeah. When you don't have headphones in, you don't know where the fuck you're at.
You just got to be on the mic at all times. So audible noises and
in my theater. But there was a moment in the, like, I would say near the end where I was just like, it was just one scene in particular that was shot really well or captured the action so well that I was just like, I'm like, oh shit. I literally said, oh shit. Like it was cool because I really liked this character. That's why. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there was just a really cool moment with one of the characters, and I was excited, and it made me realize I'm like, this movie. The best way I can really describe it is that it has a lot of great moments sprinkled in, but here's my problem with it.
Oh, okay, big problems.
This shouldn't have been one movie. It doesn't, like, for me. Because Harvey you mentioned it, it's tying up so many loose ends that I feel like it kind of stumbles. Like it stumbles on a lot of parts. Really though?
I feel like to me it's tying up one loose end.
It's tying up. Well, it's trying to capture all. Well, it's trying to capture all these arcs for these different characters. Where I'm like, for me, like I feel like if it really does stumble and like there's some like unsatisfying parts.
I checked out for like an hour in this movie.
That's the thing. Like the one part that really got me was like maybe midway through where I'm like, okay, like this is you're losing me until the end came. And when the end came, I got excited again because like there's something happening. Like there's a lot of stagnation. I feel like throughout this movie, and I feel like
for a 3-hour movie, like I think every scene should have a purpose. And
I feel like and
that's
what I'm saying.
Like
that's what I'm saying. This should at least been like 2 movies. They should have honestly what I would have loved to see if they would have gave a shit more about what happened on planet Earth and this. I would have loved to see a story about these heroes dealing with the fact that they fucking lost. I would have loved to see a somber, sad movie about them dealing with that.
I mean, that's just unrealistic.
That's just me. That's me being the person I am. But then we could have got a final arc to this, like one more, and that's the end. Like Endgame could have been a different movie than this.
All right, I kind of agree with both of you, but there's somewhere where I fall off here.
But that wasn't going to happen. I know that wasn't going to happen.
But so also, just in general, the way that they did this, I think, might have been perfect for their audience. And so whatever I want at this point I'm just throwing it out the window. And I'm going to judge this on how much fun I had and how entertained I was. And I wouldn't say that it's just me, I guess. So this is particular to me, but not Harvey. I don't remember falling off for that long. Like I would say maybe 10 minutes where I was like, all right, and then I was just back on. So my thoughts on this movie are pretty similar to Infinity War. I enjoy it. I think it works very well. It ties up the loose ends. I mean, it wasn't unpredictable because, I mean...
We all kind of see what's going to happen.
I mean, when I walked out of Infinity War, my theory was this movie. So it's kind of weak in that aspect. They didn't take huge chances.
There was one curveball I didn't see coming, and that, I mean, it didn't like genuinely like shock me, but it was still like, oh wow, I didn't see, I'm surprised they did that.
I'm interested to know what that is, but
we could talk about it afterwards.
So, all right, wait, let me talk about one moment in the movie real quick that Tappy and I both just rolled our eyes and almost couldn't retrieve them from the back of our heads.
Yeah.
Dude, there's this. I'm not gonna say who or what, but it's just a forced female empowerment scene where I was just like, oh god, like. Is there anything more corny than
like she's got help?
That
part?
When there's like two male directors, like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the feminists. All right, we're gonna do this. Like, that's not fucking female empowerment.
I would have liked that. I would have liked that scene because like I've actually come to grow on one of these characters that we're talking about. I'm actually like in this movie, like I actually wasn't like I was like, all right, she's not bad.
I think it was,
and there's and I honestly would have just been happy if she was just OP and just fucking wreck shop instead of having that awkward fucking moment because they're pandering.
Right.
It's so fucking obvious.
Yeah,
it's
that shit was awkward as hell. It should never be that obvious, right?
It was very pandering.
And people clapped too, and I was like,
there was a really nice moment too with another character that I can't talk about with both of them, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice little.
It reminds me of
moment. I'm
Captain
like, okay.
Marvel when they put on "I'm Just a Girl" from No Doubt.
Roll my eye. That's the equivalent. That's the same exact.
Right, but my thing with Captain Marvel as a movie, I think that movie is just a slog to get through. Whereas this one, it went down smooth. I think it was a very quick 3 hours. Actually, I was surprised.
Yeah,
I would say my body disagrees because we fucked up. I didn't realize it. We must have knew this when we bought our tickets, but we didn't get recliner seats. Yeah,
I was leaning all the way back.
It was like
I was like in sleeping position.
All the recliner theaters were taken.
I was like this. I was like.
No, we had.
I was laying like that, like just watching
my ass
the movie.
was still hurting at the end.
Yeah,
I was sleeping.
I would say my body told me that 3 hours is long, but mentally it did not feel like too long. But this is coming from a guy that like loves American Honey and shit. Which is.
I'm gonna talk about one character who I thought brought some real. That I kind of want to see more of, to be honest, just because. And I mentioned you guys thought it was a joke, but I'm being 100% serious. I think Hawkeye is actually like an underrated character.
I could do that.
I think because he brings a more human aspect. If you think about all the other characters in the superhero universe, they're ridiculous. They're all like OP as fuck, and like Hawkeye and his story about his family, dude. That's a really good through line. Like what
story about his family? He's got a family, and he's sad.
And they're gone. And then it's
just
like his
jumping line.
I didn't care much for Hawkeye in this.
Everybody's family's gone.
I know, but like I think it brings like a human element because if you think about anyone else, like is like he was not really doing what they were doing for a while. He was basically just being a dad.
Yeah.
So like, and that's what I'm saying.
You're
I think that
supposed to take care of your kids.
If I'm honest, I do like Hawkeye, but I think that this movie made me dislike Hawkeye.
Really, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I feel opposite. I actually
haircut.
gave a shit about him for the first time because he never did anything in the other movies for me.
I think he was
because the first time I saw him in Thor, he was like in a lighthouse, in a watchtower. He was like he just pulled a bow back, and I was just like, that's the only time that's my only experience with Hawkeye, and that and Avengers 1.
Yeah, I mean, he just seems like I don't know. He's sort of mysterious in those movies, and he just seems like a cool guy. But in this one, I think that
is it the haircut?
It's not the haircut. It's his arc in this movie. I think that his actions weren't necessarily justified, and they weren't really well explained, and it just makes his character look I don't understand his character in this movie.
And
at all.
that's why I mentioned previously. That's why I'm saying this movie could have been 2 films because we could have got more with the superheroes on Earth dealing with shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, there's great moments sprinkled throughout this film, or good moments. But then there's moments where I feel like, oh man, we could have got a lot more with those characters. Yeah. It's just like that jump. I don't mind a time jump. I'm used to it. I fucking watch enough anime. You're used to like 10-year time jumps. But I think they just did it at the wrong time. I feel like we just need a little bit more of what is happening and how that does affect them. Yeah. Because like when you do that, when that happens, it kind of shifts tonally what the film is. It becomes something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. It sounds, sorry if I'm being super like elusive, like I'm like, not making sense, but it's like when you first start the film, it feels a certain way, and when that time jump happens, it becomes something else. It becomes like a Marvel movie, and there's another shift again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These movies seem a little disjointed, but I think they're able to make it work.
I don't know. I think that Marvel movie section you're talking about is actually a little bit more advanced than previous Avengers movies. I think it's snappier, it's wittier, it's more...
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not a bad part of the movie. I'm just saying
but it doesn't feel Marvel.